finds it Christian burial.
How can that be unless she drowned herself in her own defense?
Why, 'tis found so.
It must be se offendendo. It cannot be else, for here lies the point. If I drown myself, wittingly it already is an act, and an act hath three branches. It is to act, to do, to perform. Our gal, she drowned herself wittingly.
Nay, but hear you, good man Delver.
Give me leave, here lies the water good, here stands the man good. If the man go to this water and drown himself it is, will he, nil he goes. Mark you that, but if the water come to him and drown him, he drowns not himself. Our gal, he that is not guilty of his own shortens not his own life.
But is this law?
Ay, Mary, it is, Crowners quest law.
Will you have the truth on it? If this had not been a gentlewoman, she should have been buried out of Christian burial.
Why there thou sayest, and the more pity that great folk should have countenance in this world to drown or hang themselves, more than their even Christian. Come, my spade, there is no ancient gentleman but gardeners, ditchers, and grave makers. They hold up for Adam's profession.
Was he a gentleman?
He was the first that ever bore arms.
Why, he had none.
What art a heathen? How dost thou understand the Scripture? The Scripture says Adam dig. Could he dig without arms? I'll put another question to thee. If thou answerest me not to the purpose, confess thyself.
Go to.
What is he that builds stronger than either the mason, the shipwreck, or the carpenter?
The gallows maker, for that frame outlives 1,000 tenants.
I like thy wit, well, in good faith. The gallows does well, but how does it well? It does well to those that do ill. Now thou dost ill to say the gallows is built stronger than the church. Our gal, the gallows may do well to thee, to it again come.
Who builds stronger than a mason, a shipwright, or a carpenter?
Ay, tell me that, and unyoke.
Marry, now I can tell.
To it.
Mass, I cannot tell.
Congeal thy brains no more about it, for your dull ass will not mend his pace with speeding. And when you are asked this question next, say, A gravemaker. The houses he makes last time. Last till doomsday, go get thee to yon, fetch me a stoup of liquor.
Has this fellow no feeling of his business that he sings while grave making?
Custom hath made it in him a property of easiness.
'Tis even so, the hand of little employment hath daintier sense.
It might, my lord.
A skull had a tongue in it that could sing once, how the knave jowls in it ground to the ground as if it were Cain's jawbone that did the first murder. This might be the pate of a politician, which this ass now over offices, one that would circumvent God, might it not?
Aye, my lord.
Or of courter, which could say, Good morrow, sweet lord, how dost thou, good lord? This might be my lord such a one that praised by my lord such a one's horse, when he meant to beg it, might it not?
Aye, my lord.
Why, even so, and now, my lady's worms, chopless and knocked about the mazzard with a sexton's spade. Here's fine revolution. If we had the trick to see it, did these bones cause no more the breeding but to play at loggeds with them? Mine ache to think of it. Whose grave is this, sire?
Mine, sir. Oh, if it's a clay torch you made for such a guest.
I think it be thine indeed, for thou liest in it.
You lie out on it, sir, and therefore it is not yours. For my part, I do not lie in it, and yet it is mine.
Thou dost lie in it to be in it, and say it is thine. 'Tis for the dead, not for the quick, therefore thou liest.
'Tis a quick lie, sir. It will weigh again from me to you.
What man dost thou dig it for?
For no man, sir.
What woman then?
For none neither.
Who is to be buried in it?
One that was a woman, sir, but rest her soul, she's dead.
How absolute the knave is. We must speak by the card, or equivocation will undo us. By the Lord Horatio, these 3 years I have taken a note of it. The age is grown so picked that the toe of the peasant comes so near the heel of the courter. He galls his kibe. How long hast thou been a grave maker?
Of all the days in the year I came to that day that our last King Hamlet overcame Fortinbras.
How long is that since?
Cannot you tell that? Every fool can tell that. It was the very day that young Hamlet was born. He that is mad and sent into England.
Aye, Mary, why was he sent to England?
Why, because he was mad. He shall recover his wits there, or if he do not, it's no great matter there.
Why?
'Twill not be seen in him there the men are as mad as he.
How came he mad?
Very strangely, they say.
How strangely.
Faith, even losing his wits.
Upon what ground?
Why, here in Denmark I have been sextoned here, man and boy 30 years.
How long will a man lie in earth ere he rot?
Faith, if he be not rotten before he die, as we have many poppy courses nowadays, that he will scarce hold the laying in, he will last you some 8 year or 9 year, a tanner will last you 9 year.
Why him more than another?
Why, sir, his hide is so tanned with his trade that he will keep out water a great while, and your water is a sore decayer of your horse and dead body. Here's a skull now has laid in the earth 3 and 20 years.
Whose was it?
Orson's mad fellow it was. Who do you think it was?
Nay, I know not.
A pestilence on him for a mad rogue. He poured a flag and a run to show my head once. This same skull, sir, was York's skull, the king's gesture.
This?
Even that.
Let me see. Alas, poor Yorick, I knew him. Horatio, a fellow of infinite jest, of most excellent fantasy. He hath bore me on his back 1,000 times, and now how adored in my imagination it is. My gorge rises at it. Here hung those lips I have kissed I know not how oft. Here, where he be your kives now, or gambols, your songs, your flashes of merriment, that were wont to set the table on a roar. Not one now to mock your own grinning. Quite chop fallen. Now get you to my lady's chamber. Tell her, let her paint an inch thick. To this favor she must come. Make her laugh at that. Prithee, Horatio, tell me one thing.
What's that, my lord?
Dost thou think Alexander looked to this fashion in the earth?
Even so?
And smelt so
Even so, my lord.
To what base uses we may return, Horatio. Why may not imagine trace the noble dust of Alexander till he finds stopping a bunghole?
'Twere to consider too curiously, to consider so.
No faith, not a jot, but to follow him thither, which modesty enough and likelihood to lead it. Alexander died, Alexander was buried, Alexander returneth into dust. The dust is earth. Of earth we make loam, and why of that loam whereto he was converted might they not stop a beer barrel? Imperious Caesar dead, and returned to clay, might stop a hole to keep the wind away. Oh, that earth, which kept the world in awe, should patch a well to expel the winter's flaw. But soft a while, here comes the king.